Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Before I get started with this episode, I wanted to let you know that Rivals is coming out. It's about the episodes that I did on my show about a father and son that's in rival games. Me and Boo collaborated on it so we can give you a better sense of what went on and everything with the story from, him adding things to the story that he remember and me as well. More so than what was on the podcast. So just check it out. It's coming out August the 1st. It'll be $20. You can get it at jtb.org on Boo's website. So just check that out, man. I appreciate your support. Real talk, right? But look here, let me talk about what this episode is going to be about, right? A lot of people think that, the one of the most lucrative ways of making money in the penitentiary is by smuggling contraband into the prison and selling it, whether it be drugs or phones or whatever the case may be, right? But nothing could be further from the truth. The most lucrative way of making money in the penitentiary is gambling. That's just what it is, right? And I had two brothers a long time ago that came up on me. This was a while ago, y'all. But I had these two brothers that pulled up on me, a brother named LJ and a brother named Big Mac. They pulled up on me and introduced another way to get some money for the fam. And I was skeptical about it at first, but they ended up, wanting to sit down and talk about it. And I'm going to give you the insight on how they were able to present the case to me and try to convince me to, take this on, right, by running numbers in the penitentiary. I know a lot of y'all thinking, like, how in the world can you run numbers in the penitentiary, right? Well, you can. You can. And it's a very lucrative game, right? But I'm going to give you the story behind how, Brother LJ and Brother Big Mac, became the numbers man in the penitentiary with the family being the muscle behind the machine, right? But like I say, this is one of those things that a lot of people out there may not even be aware of. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this show, y'all. Check this out, y'all. On this story, Brother LJ and Brother Big Mac, right, they had pulled up on me one day. I had just finished working out. And, I was in my cool down period, so I'm sitting under the weight shack, surrounded by the guys, and one of them step up and say, hey, folk, can we get at you for a second? I'm like, yeah, come on, what's going on, man? What the business is, right? And I'm thinking something else is going on, right? Because these brothers, they're a little bit older than me, and usually when they want to sit down and talk, it's about something serious. They don't really come about nothing trivial, right? Other than that, they just do their thing, right? So they were like, look here, folk. We got an idea where, the fam can make money, you can make money, we can make money, way more than what you're making selling drugs and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, this will be a new one to me. If you can tell me how I can make more money without selling drugs, without taking all the risk of getting stuff smuggled in and all this and that, right? That'll be a shocker to me. And they was like, yeah, okay. They said, have you ever considered, running numbers? I said, running numbers, like what they do on the streets. Now, you got to keep in mind, back at this time, y'all, they didn't have a lottery what they got in Tennessee. So, people were running numbers and stuff like that on the streets, getting paid a lot of money, right? I'm talking about a lot of money, right? But at the end of the day, we kept talking, and I said, look, I tell you what, this is not a conversation, that we need to be just having out here in front of everybody. I said, get your stuff together, and then I'll give you a sit down with me and my number 2 and number 3, and we'll discuss that, right? And see what's going on. And so I said, we'll do this tomorrow. You meet me down here on the ball field, after 4:30, and we'll rap about it, and then I'll make a decision sometime after that whether it's something that we want to get into, right? So they left, and they were walking around, and I get with my number 2, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, man, what do you think about that? And he was like, man, he's heard of people doing that, but it's never been successful. He said, it's always a bunch of mess with it. So I said, well, why would they be bringing that to us, to try to get involved with it if it's a lot of mess? He said, I don't know. He said, man, but it's worth listening to. Let's hear them out and see what they got to say about it, right? I said, I bet that. Well, we'll get together tomorrow on that, right? So we dismissed, went back to the units. The night passes by. The next day comes up, boom, we're down on the ball field now. We're down there, my number 2, my number 3, and LJ and Big Mac. Now we're all talking. So they laid a case out. And I asked, they said, look, this is what we'll do. We'll do pick 3 and pick 4 numbers. And any of y'all out there that play the lottery, or used to play what they call the numbers back in the day, you know what pick 3 and pick 4 is. You pick 3 numbers and you bet a certain amount of money on it. And if those numbers come out in the order that you have them, or any combination of that, you win money, right? So that's what they were trying to propose. So I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute, okay, sound like a great idea, but I said, what if somebody hits? How do we pay them? You feel what I'm saying? And that's when they gave me the game. They said, this is what we do. The numbers that we use is the same numbers that come on TV. I said, so if they can do the same thing that we're trying to propose by getting somebody on the streets to play the numbers for them, why would they play the numbers with us? Why would they do that? And folks, Big Mac said it's simple, Joe. He said people like to be able to put their hands on the person that's dealing with their money if something goes wrong. You feel me? And if everything goes right, they like to get their money ASAP. And we're right here in their faces. Now, if they wanted to play the numbers, he said, on the streets, he said they could play them. But they'd have to get on the phone, call family members, call a friend, or call the numbers man themselves and play it. And then if they hit, hope that they get the money. But he said they don't have to worry about that with us. We're right in here with them. We're going to pay them. So I'm leaning back. I got to thinking, I'm like, but what we going to pay them with? Where the money going to come from? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not finna put my money up because, like, here's the thing, y'all. Pick 3, it paid, like, if you hit it straight, like, I think you get like $500-$600 back in the day. Pick 4, you come straight like that, you get like $5,000. I said, man, I'm not putting my money up for that. You know what I mean? Because what if you got more than one person to hit? And that's when Big Mac and LJ said, here go the game, Joe. He said, we use the same thing that you use on the streets. Whatever the numbers are, we put them in. He said, but what we going to do is we going to take that money and then we going to call folks and them on the streets, and then folks and them going to play them numbers for us, and then we'll get the money like that. But we're not going to pay $600 and $5,000 if you hit pick 3 or pick 4. We're going to pay half of that. And then we keep the other half, so we win all the way around the board. If somebody hit the numbers, we get half of the money from the streets. If they don't hit, then we get to keep the money that they playing on the numbers. And I'm saying, dang. I said, okay, wait a minute. We got one problem. We got the same problem that people would have if they wanted to play the numbers on the streets. If they called somebody on the streets and had them play it and the number came down and then they didn't give them the money, what would they do? So what we going to do if somebody hit and folks on the streets decide to keep the money? He said, but we ain't got to worry about that. The blue mob will get that. We ain't finna have to worry about that. We're going to make sure that everybody get paid. It's in everybody's interest to keep this thing rocking. So I got to think, but what I'm thinking about, because sometimes folks now get shysted. And one of the biggest problems that the organization has is like every other organization. Somebody always gets greedy and don't want to do this and don't want to do that. And always trying to find a way to carve out a little bit more for themselves, right? So I'm sitting there saying, I said, before I even stamp something like this, right, because I don't want to get caught up in having to pay somebody or somebody on the streets, one of the folks, run off with the money. I said, I need to talk to the gov out there on the town to make sure that they are in agreement with this. And he said, Big Mac said, that's what we need you for. You got this compound. You going to have to talk to them and put your name on it. I said, see, that's right there. So once I put my name on it, I'm responsible. But LJ and Big Mac said, yeah, you're right. You'll be responsible, but the mob is going to sanction it. We just going to get folks and them out there in whatever deck you call to make sure they run it. I said, so I call folks and them in Nashville or either Springfield, wherever I want, and they're going to be the ones to handle the outside end of this. And they were like, yeah. I said, so wait a minute. So what if I get my family to do it? They were like, nah, we have no sway with them, and if something go wrong, then you know what it is. Nobody want to get at your people. You feel what I'm saying? Because we ain't taking no losses. I said, dig that. I said, let me think about this, okay? So they get on down, right? So when they leave, me and my number 2, we talking. Man, look here. Sound like a great idea. Sounds like a great idea. But I could see all different ways this could go wrong. I see all different ways that we could get caught up and end up messed up about some of this money. Who do we get on the streets that we can trust to really put the numbers in, keep the money flowing? If we lose, we pay these folks off. If we win, everybody chopping the money up. Who do we get to do that? We couldn't think of nobody. And again, we don't know everybody that's on deck out there. When I say deck, I mean that's the body out there on the town, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the OSMs that make up the body. You know what I'm saying? That on that deck. That deck is that particular location in that town. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like Nashville and whatever part of the city it is, that's a deck. You feel what I'm saying? So on and so forth, right? And it's made up of the family members. But anyway, it's basically like what part of the city you belong to. You know what I'm saying? By way of the organization. So we kept thinking, man. I'm like, man, I don't know nobody out there, man, that I trust like that, man. Because if we do this, we're talking about a lot of money potentially. Because a compound, on a prison compound, you're going to have anywhere at any particular time, anywhere from 800 to 900 people to up to, you know what I'm saying, on the low end, and then on the high end, depending on what prison it is, back in that day, you might 1,500 people maybe. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a little more than that depending on which penitentiary, but at the end of the day, you're talking about a lot of people. So we can just lock down half of that compound playing numbers every day. We got bread coming. This bread coming that where you ain't even got to take no risk or nothing. They coming to you. They come to you. Everybody in here likes to gamble. They love to take risk. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, dang, this could make a lot of money, but who is it on the outside that we could mess with? So I get on the phone and I call. Now we on the state phone, because keep it in mind, back in the day we ain't had no cell phone. So I'm on the state phone and I'm talking to the brother that got the town, the gov out there. I said, look here, bro. This is what we propose. And I run it down to him. He's like, man, bro, we doing that out here now. I said, so how can we get in on that, man, and bring some of that money in here, out there? He said, man, we'll run all the numbers, man. We'll put all the money in and then we'll chop it up and send it back, right? I said, but what's it going to cost us on this end to you? He said, man, we're going to get a little nibble off of it, but it ain't going to be much, man, because we understand y'all locked down, man, and y'all trying to get it in. You know, we family, though. I'm like, I said, it sound good, folks. Sound real good. He said, nah, Joe T. He said, man, it ain't even like that, man. We getting plenty of money out here, right? But we can see the advantages of bringing some of that money in there out here. You feel what I'm saying? We can see the advantages for y'all. If y'all get up, we get up. You know what I'm saying? It's GD, right? I'm like, yeah, okay. Now, you got to watch it when you're talking to the folks, right? Because the folks will have you so caught up in the business that you really ain't paying attention. They already done reached their hand around and going in your back pocket. They keep them tell you now, you got to watch them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listening to what folks saying, but at the same time, I'm thinking, what's the angle? What is the angle? He said that too quickly. He agreed with that too quickly now. I'm like, okay. I said, so who's going to be taking all the numbers for us out there? He said, man, I'm going to get one of the folks out here that's already doing it, man. But you'll be the only one to get in touch with him to give him the number. I was like, no. I said, I'm going to have my number 2 to do that, right? And then he'll hand off somebody. We're going to have the treasurer doing it, basically. I said, he'll hand it off to the treasurer, let the treasurer do all the phone calls and putting all the numbers in. I said, I can't be on the phone every day doing that. He said, the only thing, man, you got to get them numbers in before a certain time. I'm like, okay, we'll get all that information from you. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll take care of it. Now, y'all got to keep in mind, y'all out there listening, we didn't have cell phones to rock with back then. We didn't have cell phone. So you got to be on that phone early. You know how it is out there when you're playing the numbers. Any of y'all out there that used to play the numbers, it ain't like the lottery like it is today. You go down to the convenience store. The number man used to come around to everybody's house early in the morning picking up the numbers so he can get them all over we in Springfield, so he can get them back to Nashville in a reasonable amount of time. Because you got to put them in the morning because the numbers coming out of Chicago, you know what I'm saying, at midday. You feel what I'm saying? So you got to get them numbers in early. They ain't coming in. You can't walk in 5 minutes before the numbers come out talking about play this and play that. So we got to get on that phone early. But in the penitentiary, things run by the clock. You don't know if you're going to be locked down. You don't know if you're going to get out at a certain time. So we had to work all of that out without cell phones, y'all. Without a cell phone. So I handed it off, my number 2 handed it off to the treasurer. And I set him down. And I said, listen to me. you got to make sure every day you getting on that phone and putting in all the numbers. And this brother was good with numbers. You know what I'm saying? He keeps the box. He was keeping up with all the dudes and everything. So he good with numbers. So he said, I got it, bro. I got it. I said, okay then. So now, after we got everything straight, I get LJ and Big Mac, you know what I'm saying, back down on the ball field, and we rapping. I said, here we go. I said, I think we can do this. But what are you getting out of this? He said, man, we just want a little bit off of it, man. He said, we'll cut ours off of it as we go through it. I said, how you going to do that? Well, the money that come off, you know what I'm saying, from people winning, they go in the box. The money that come off of people that's putting in tickets that's losing, we chop that up. And I said, who is we? He said, us and you. I said, so what else is going, so the family going to get half of the money off the winning numbers, right? But me, you, that means Big Mac and LJ, and me, we going to chop up the money off the losing tickets. I'm sitting there thinking, I said, okay, it's going to be me and my number 2. You feel what I'm saying? Actually, I put my whole board on it. The whole board. That means my number 2, my chief of security, my secretary, and the treasurer. All of us we're going to split up the monies of people putting in tickets that don't hit. So LJ and Big Mac, we all agree, right? So okay then, this is how we going to get it. I said, but what we looking at though? He said, man, we finna blanket this compound, man. He said, at the beginning it's gonna be a little slow because we gotta build up people's trust. I said, okay, that's what's up. We gotta build up people's trust. I said, well, what's your plan for building up people's trust? He said, bro, let us handle that. Let us handle that. I said, okay. I said, but here's the thing. Everything you do, my number 2 need to know. You don't want me to know all of it, but he need to know. You can keep me out of that, but all I want to make sure is that, you know what I'm saying, the money that's supposed to be coming to us is accounted for. We understood? They're like, yeah. And I said, if any problems come up with y'all, man, you know what it is, right? They're like, folks, you ain't even got to go there like that. Now, keep in mind, y'all, like I said, these brothers are older than me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm suspicious of them. Because they got that street swag, they talk fast, you know what I'm saying? And then they looking you dead in your eye, but they looking at you trying to intimidate you. They ain't looking at you with that eye contact to let you know that they are honest men and all this and that. It's that stare. It's that stare that like a snake is looking at you, you know what I'm saying, and like waiting on to see you flinch, and then it's going to pop you one good time. That's how they look at you, right? So I'm saying, okay, then check this out. I'm going to get on down, but y'all run everything by my number 2, man. And then we good. So we shook on it, you know what I'm saying, GD that. And I get on down. I go on to the weight pile so I can get my workout in, right? So here we go. The folks is running numbers on the compound. I'll never forget it. When the word get out, people talking about, man, I'm not messing with them. They on some shiesty stuff. They finna try to get everybody money. Ain't nobody finna get that money. You know what I'm saying? So boom, here we go. Everybody's putting in numbers. I'm talking about, we got the first day, we got about a good 200 people, man. And they playing multiple numbers and all this and that, right? Didn't nobody hit. And I, you know, getting greedy, I'm thinking, early in the game I'm getting greedy. I'm thinking, dang, man, what if don't nobody ever hit? That's plenty of money we going to be chopping up. And now I got to thinking I shouldn't have put the whole board in on the chopper. I should have just kept it to me and Barrett. You know what I'm saying? My number 2, right? They didn't need to get a piece of that. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I invited everybody in on the chop up, and this is what's going down, right? But wait a minute, hold up. I ain't even gonna tell y'all till the next episode on how it went. I ain't even gonna tell you, but what I'm gonna do before I sign off on this episode is remind you that me and Boo's new book is coming out, Rivals, right? It'll be out August the 1st. You feel me? You'll be able to get it on jtb.org. That's Boo's website. Y'all know where it is. Go check that thing out. It's called Rivals. It's about those episodes that I did about the father and son. This is based on true story, y'all, about the father and son that's in rival gangs and they end up going at each other. Man, check this book out. This is a book that everybody, if you into this generational gang violence and trying to understand and get a glimpse of what that really looks like and what that really is, go check out this book. It's one of a kind. It ain't no story like this out there. It ain't nobody that's ever told this story the way that we tell this this story. So go check this book out, y'all. This is the real deal. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.